Can you please confirm my slides are visible? Thanks. So, good evening all. Welcome to the week 12 of the problem solving discussion session for the NPTEL course NOC 22 C68 Ground Improvement. Myself Rituraj Singh Sujawat. I am Prime Minister's Research Fellow in Department of Earthquake Engineering from IIT Roorkee. I am currently handling as an additional TA for this course, like under the Professor Dilip Kumar Bedia, who is head and professor in Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Kharagpur. So what is this 1 hour session is basically about? Like those who are seeing these videos for the first time, basically these videos deal with the interactive sessions with the learners. We are having the discussion of some important concepts which is required to solve your assignment questions related to that NPTEL course. We will also solve some sample questions which will be helpful in solving those assignment questions. If you are having any doubts regarding any part of the NPTEL lectures you have attended previous weeks or this week, we can discuss that also, and we can have a discussion on that. And any other technical or non-technical query if you are having with this session, we can deal with that. So this is the last session for this semester, like we will be discussing some of the sample questions for the assignments. So I guess this is the week 12, and the week 12 is also the last week for your NPTEL course also for the ground improvement. So this last week is basically dealing with the mechanically stabilized earth walls, though we have seen some part of the MSE walls in the previous sessions, but this session is totally about MSE walls. Now we will see some of the examples where we are using the MSE walls, and then we will discuss some of the sample questions with regarding to the concepts which we have discussed in the last week or this week 12 for the MSE walls. So this is a video which can explain how the MSE walls are being constructed on the site. So you can see first we have prepared the ground, then we have placed the reinforcement at the particular height as per our design. Then we are filling that excavation with some reinforced soil. We will perform this operation stage by stage. So you will place some of the reinforcements at some height, then you will fill that area or volume with the reinforced soil. Then again we will place the reinforcement, and this will go on with iterative process till the time we will achieve the particular height designed for resisting the lateral load. So yeah, then we will place our transportation or the construction area, which this is basically the pavement which we have placed to resist the lateral load coming over there. So unlike the gravity retaining wall, these walls are having the multi-purpose, so this provide a very wide area to resist the lateral load coming over it. And also the pavement or bridges, if you want to construct from the ground level at a certain height, then these MSE walls are very beneficial, and these are relatively very comfortable and easy to construct as compared to the conventional gravity walls. So these are some of the examples. So like if you want to, you would have seen in the at the airport, so like right now it's various green cities our country is leading towards. So we are like heading for the mechanically stabilized earth walls. So this can act as a multi-purpose, like here we are basically resisting the Here you can see we are basically registering the lateral load with the help of some of the pavement blocks we have placed, which is very helpful in registering the lateral loads. And then we are having the mechanically stabilized earth walls, which is basically used for the beautification purpose, like at the airports, or like in the, you would have seen it in the tourist places also. So this can act as both way, like it will helpful in registering the lateral load also, and it can serve as an aesthetic purpose also. This is another example where we are using the MSE walls. So you are seeing like we have placed the walls in the step formation, and this is helpful for registering the lateral load coming over it. So this is the parking area, and the places which are usually, or the construction which are led at the certain height which is below the ground level, and we want to make our site to be useful at that particular place, then we are basically going for this MSE walls. So there are numerous examples available. These are some of the typical examples I have taken, which can basically covers all the major aspects. So MSE walls, like I guess everyone would have seen that once in their lifetime at any place, or you would have come across them like in your daily life also. So this is the typical examples for the MSE walls. Other beneficial benefits of using these MSE walls are like they are very beneficial because the total area for resisting the lateral load coming over it, it's having the cross section area as very large as compared to the gravity retaining wall. Also for the seismic or the earthquake loads coming over these walls are very beneficial because they provide a very higher stiffness. So this higher stiffness is helpful in resisting the earthquake load. So if you would have gone through some of the courses relating to the seismic design or the earthquake loads coming over there, so we know the structures which are offering the higher stiffness. Basically higher stiffness help us in resisting the lateral load coming over the structure. So this retaining walls, since they are having very higher cross section area, the moment of inertia will also be higher. So this overall width is helpful in resisting the seismic load coming over it. So any point you want to discuss about MSE walls? Okay, so if not, like let's move to our sample questions. So you would have gone through the NPTEL lectures for the week 12, which is dealing with the mechanically stabilized earth walls. So here are some of the sample questions which can help you in solving your assignment questions for the code for this topic. So first question is, which of the following is and are the design parameters of MSE walls? So whether it's a wall height, its top slope height, its top slope angle, or all of this. Yes, the answer is D. So, one second, guys. So, answer is D. So, basically, these all parameters will be used when we are going for the MSE walls. There are other parameters also which we are going to discuss, but these are some of the important parameters which we are basically considering while designing the MSc wall. So other design parameters we have discussed in the NPTEL lectures also from Professor Bedia. So he had told us like wall height, slope slope height is basically the slope angle of the soil which is available beneath the earth wall, wall better, the top slope angle, wall embedment depth. So these are the basically the geometry constraints we are using for the designing parameters. Then we are having the properties of the reinforcement field also. So the soil which we are filling beneath the front surface, the type of the fill is also governing the design parameters. So that field basically will be having the basic properties of the geological material, which is friction angle and the unit weight. Then we are having the properties of the retained soil. So the before the reinforcement soil, the soil which we are resisting for the lateral load, we are having the basic properties of the that also as the design parameters, which is basically friction angle, unit weight. Then we are having the properties of the foundation soil, like below the bearing wall the type of soil is available. So again the index properties of that, cohesion, friction angle, unit weight. Then we are having the property of the top slope soil. So the if we are having some slopy region of the soil also available above the uh, soil, above the ground which we are resisting, then property of that also we need to take under consideration. And reinforcement related parameters, so the type of the reinforcement we are providing in the retained part. So the properties, that is the yield strength of that soil, or the tensile strength of that soil, tensile strength of that fiber. Every parameter of related to that reinforcement also we need to take under consideration. So yeah, these all are the parameters which we need to look into whenever we are going to design for the MSc walls. So there are design of all these parameters need to be done so that a proper stability from the mechanically stabilized earth wall can be expected. So I guess you would have seen those discussion in the lectures also. If you want any part to be discussed here, please feel free to ask. If not, let's move to our next question. So a slip surface will develop for a cohesionless soil in geosynthetic reinforced slope if the slope angle is larger than the friction angle of the soil, if the slope angle is less than the friction angle of the soil, the friction angle of the soil is high, or none of these. Yeah, so the correct answer is the slope angle is larger than the friction angle of the soil. So why is it so? So let me explain this. So if you are having a slope available, and to basically stabilize this slope we are inserting some of the reinforced geosynthetics. So this slope angle which we are making to stabilize the slope with the help of the reinforced, this slope angle phi, not, let's say this as beta, and the soil available here is having the soil friction angle as phi. So this beta should be greater than phi, so that a slip surface should not be developed for cohesionless soil. So this is basically cohesionless soil available. And if like this angle is beta is smaller than phi, then we can expect like there will be a slip of, like there will be failure of the slope here. So if this beta is less than phi, so there will be the failure of the slope. So you would have read this in the slope stability topic. So this slope angle basically should be larger than the friction angle of the soil. Coming to the question number 3. Geosynthetic reinforced slopes are likely to fail under which of the following modes of failure? Whether it's superficial failure, internal failure, compound failure, or all of the above. Yeah, so the correct answer is all of the above. So let me explain. So if you are having any slope available here, and this is the top slope, and you are having the reinforcements available here. So you can have the superficial failure first. So the surface where these reinforcements are available, So there can be failure of the soil here due to the poor connection of the reinforcement at the surface. So we can expect like there will be the surface failure. So whatever type of the layer you are placing in the front face, whether it's blocks or some other fiber materials, so if they are not properly connected to these reinforcements, so we can expect like there is a surface failure at the front face. Then we are having the internal failure. So internal failure is basically placing along this surface. So whenever you are having the slide down of the slope, so you can expect like there will be tensile failure in the reinforcement, so we can expect there is an internal failure available here. Then since this is the retaining part of the MSE wall or the reinforcement slope, so if your so if your soil is failing at the connection of the reinforcement and your main soil domain, so this is your main soil domain, this is the reinforced soil. So if your soil is failing at this surface, along this surface, then you can expect we are having the compound failure. So these are some of the major types of failures we are having. So we can expect while placing the geosynthetic reinforced slopes. So under these modes we can expect like our reinforced soil can fail. Coming to the next question number 4. The percentage coverage of the reinforced RC is given by. Any doubt in the previous question 3? Okay. The percentage coverage of the reinforced RC is given by our next question 4. So the percentage coverage of the reinforced geosynthetic is given by. So this is one of the parameter which we use while designing the reinforced geosynthetics, or like the type of the geosynthetic we need to use while stabilizing the soil. So the correct answer is B. So how is this? So whenever you are inserting, like for example, this is your front surface of the soil and this is the reinforced geosynthetic layers you are placing. So this is the top view you can see, and within the soil this is the cross section of the reinforced. So this geosynthetic, when you will insert into the soil, there will be some influence on the nearby soil region also. So this is the nearby soil region. So this nearby soil region will be can be called as the tributary area A, and this is your gross area of the geosynthetic. So the ratio of Ag by A is what basically the percentage coverage of the reinforced RC. So the correct answer is B. Coming to the next question. So the failure mode for geosynthetics reinforcement slope shown in the figure is. So which type of failure mode is shown in the figure? Whether it's tensile rupture, it's pull out from stable soil, it's pull out from phase, or all of the above. So I guess it's pretty clear, like from the figure itself. So you can take it, no doubt in that. So what type of failure mode is shown in the figure for geosynthetics reinforcement slope shown? Yeah, so it's tensile rupture. From the figure itself we can see. So whenever the lateral force coming over the soil, it's very higher, such that your tensile load which is being transferred to the reinforcement geosynthetic, it can't resist that tensile force. So this tensile force will lead to the failure of or the rupture of this geosynthetic material. So this is the tensile rupture. So any doubt in any part till now? If not, let's move to our next part of our sample questions. So question number 6 to 8 will basically be the numerical part we are dealing with. So the first question is, a vertical geosynthetic reinforced MSE wall is shown in the example figure below. So this is the MSE wall we are having, and this is basically divided into different layers: layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. How is it done? We have seen in the video, and actually they have already designed the wall. We need to analyze for the different factor of safeties. So one of the sample question has been discussed by Professor Bedia also in his NPTEL lectures. So similarly we need to solve this question also. So only I guess the numerical values are changed. So the width of the wall is given, which is 3 meter. Height of the wall is given is 3 meter. Different layer height is 0.6 meter, 0.6 meter, 0.6 meter. The index properties of the soil below the MSE wall is unit weight is 20 kN per meter cube. Phi R is 30 degree, Ci is 0.8, Rc equals to 100%. So first you need to calculate the factor of safety against base sliding. So how much resistance this wall can offer if we are having the sliding failure along this surface. So you need to calculate the factor of safety. So factor of safety is basically the ratio of the resisting force by driving force. So first you need to see how much resistance is being offered by this MSC wall, and what is the driving lateral force being offered by the soil beside it. So you need to take the ratio of this, and then you need to calculate the factor of safety. Let's have 4 minute time on this, or like let's have 5 minute time on this, and then I'll go on to solve this. Okay, so let me explain this. So the correct answer is 3.46. So yeah, basically the factor of safety from your previous experience, you know, is given by resisting force by driving force. So if this is your MSC wall, this is your reinforcements, and this is your main soil. So first of all, the factor of safety, again base riding. So we need to calculate the factor of safety, again base riding, for this component of the resisting force. So you know there will be some lateral force which is being applied on the MSC wall, with from the soil beneath it. So you need to calculate the lateral coefficient earth, which is for the active earth pressure, which is basically given by 1 minus sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. Sin phi is given as 30 degree, we know, plus sin 30, which is basically 1 by 3. Then you know the soil pressure will be having the force diagram like this. So the total force at the bottom will be the effective pressure will be gamma into H, and the lateral pressure will be Ka gamma into H. So the total force will be the area of this diagram, which is given by P. So the total force P active can be calculated as half K gamma into H square. So K, you know, it's 1 by 3, gamma is given as 20 kilometer per meter cube, and H, the height of the total wall, is 3 meter. So it's 3 square, so tan 3, so it's 30 kilonewton per meter. So actually this is only for unit width we are calculating, so this is 30 kilometer per meter. Then this is the driving force. Then we need to calculate the resisting force. So resisting force will be the total dead load of this wall divided by the coefficient. So how we used to calculate in the mechanics, similar way. So in the mechanics we know the total frictional force offered under any body is given by the mu times the normal force. So the normal force here is the total dead load coming from the gravity wall. So, and then we need to multiply it with the coefficient of friction. So coefficient of friction basically it's given by with the help of the tan phi. So this can, so therefore total P resisting will be, so P mu is tan 30, and total dead load is coming as normal, so normal force is coming as gamma into H. So gamma into H, you know how, like the unit weight of this wall into total height, and since we are calculating for the unit width only, so we are only considering the gamma into H. So tan 30 unit weight of the wall is given as gamma 20 is for the soil. So yeah, even for the reinforced soil, it's basically made up of the same type of soil having the unit weight of 20 km per meter cube. So we will consider that only. So 20 into H, height is 30, so 60 into tan 30, which is basically the length gamma into L into H. Okay guys, so this is 20 into 3, tan 30 gamma. So this is gamma. Okay, so we need to multiply with the width also, so we have only considered the length, so sorry with that. So you know, like unit weight into, we know this is kilometer per meter cube, this is the unit weight, so we need to multiply it with the volume. So gamma into H into L we need to consider. So tan 30 into 20, height is 3 meter and length we know is also 3 meter, so it's 180 into tan 30. So if you calculate this, 103.92. So factor of safety, if we are going to calculate, so this is the resisting, P resisting. So P acting, sorry, P resisting, P resisting by P acting. So 103.92 divided by 30. So yeah, this is the 3.46. So factor of safety, again base sliding is given by is given as 3.46. So in similar way you can calculate for the factor of safety against overturning also. So any part in the previous question? So this is basically the simple mechanics problem only. We need to take the ratio of the driving resisting force by driving force. Resisting force you can calculate with the help of the simple mechanics problem, where we are considering the weight of the wall multiplied with the coefficient of friction. So that will be the resistance offered beneath the resisting wall, and then the driving force is the lateral force which is coming from the soil beside it. Coming to the next question, now you need to calculate the factor of safety against overturning. So overturning for the wall is basically, so it's similar way you need to calculate. So this is the soil, so it will act as a, it will give a lateral force to it, so there will be some moment acting here due to this lateral force. So this is the M driving, we can say. To resist that, at the bottom we are having the M resistance to counterbalance this M driving. So basically the factor of safety will be the M resistance divided by M driving. So yeah, just think for this, then I'm going to solve after, let's say, 4 minutes. So 4 is my favorite number. So we have already calculated with the what is the P acting in the previous question. Then we just need to multiply it with the H lever arm. Yeah. Yes. So we are having the what is the driving force available, what is the resisting force. So resisting force will again be from the dead load of the wall only. So we need to calculate the resistance by driving, and then we can get the factor of safety corresponding to it. Let me solve it for you. So the correct answer is 9. So we know if this is your earth wall, so you are having a P driving acting from the lateral earth pressure, so it will act at a certain height from the ground. So this is your ground, and then you are having the dead load coming over here from the unit, from the weight of the wall. So this P actual will give a driving moment, and then you are having P resistance, P resistance which will offer the resisting moment. So you know this dead load is basically acting at the center of the wall, so which is from a distance of L by 2, and this P actually is, since the loading diagram is like this, so you know the center of the triangle is at H by 3. So yeah, so now we can calculate. So we know M driving is P, already we have calculated P active, so it's acting at a height of L by 3. So P acting from the previous question we know it's 30 kilonewton per meter. L we know is 3 by 3, so you are having M driving as 30 kilonewton meter per meter. So since for the unit length we are unit thickness we are calculating, so that's why its unit is like this, 30 kilonewton per meter. And then we are having M resistance with us. So M resistance is basically offered by the dead load. So dead load, as we have calculated in the previous question, it's 103.9, no, it's 180. So this is basically by multiplying with the coefficient of friction, but the normal load coming over the base is 180 km. So 180, and it's acting at a length of L by 2, so it's acting at 3 by 2. So this is 270 kilonewton meter per meter. So if we calculate the factor of safety against overturning, so it's given by M resistance by M driving. M resistance, you know, it's 270 and M driving is 30. So the factor of safety is 9, 270 by 30. So yeah, the option A is correct answer. So next, I don't know, any question in this? Any doubt in this, guys? So if you would have come across the dam stability question in your graduation or in any of your course, so this is a similar problem, just in case of dam we are placing the retaining wall here. Okay, if no question, then let's move to our final question of the day. So next you need to calculate the factor of safety against bearing failure. So this is a little intensive, though it's not difficult, but yeah, a little calculation is on higher side in this question. Just think for 2 minutes on this question, then I am going to solve this. Just read the question and what we are going to calculate. Just try to think how we can solve this, and then I can explain. Okay, if you have read this, that's all the question. So yeah, the correct answer is factor of safety is 8.7. So in the sixth question we have calculated the factor of safety against sliding. So in this, if your wall is failing in the sliding at the base, so how you are gonna do? One second guys. So if your wall is going to fail in the sliding, so how you are going to calculate the factor of safety? Next we have seen if your wall is failing in the overturning, so this lateral force, if it's causing an overturning moment such that the wall will fail in the due to the higher moment, so then corresponding to that we have calculated the factor of safety. Now we need to calculate the factor of safety against the bearing. So if your weight of the wall is very high in nature, or if the moment coming over the wall is such that forces coming whether from the weight of the wall or from the moment coming over it, these forces won't be able to resist by the soil available here. So if your soil is not strong enough to resist these forces, so how you are going to calculate the factor of safety for this? So for calculation of the factor of safety, this factor of safety correspond to the bearing failure. So you need to calculate the factor of safety against the bearing failure for this part. So this was the overturning, this was the sliding. Now we are calculating against the bearing failure. So if we analyze the free body diagram of this wall, so you know there will be some lateral force acting over it, there will be some dead load acting over it, then we are having the resisting moment also. So this lateral force will give some moment. So I am driving, then you are having the I am resisting at the base. So this both are, though the direction are counteracting, but this won't be having the similar magnitude. So due to the difference between am driving and am resisting, you will be having some eccentricity available here. So the total force won't act at the center, it will act at some distance E. So then you need to calculate the eccentricity with the help of this. So how you are going to calculate the eccentricity? So eccentricity is given by L by 2 minus am resisting minus am driving divided by the total weight of the wall. So L, you know the total length of the wall is 3 meter. Am resistance you have already calculated, it's 270, and am driving is 30. 270 minus 30, and weight of the wall you know is given by weight of the wall we have calculated now, where it is, yeah sorry, it's 180. So 180, so this is kilonewton meter per meter, 180 is the kilonewton per meter. So this is 1.5 minus 270 minus 30, 240 divided by 180. 240 divided by 180 is basically the 8 by 6, 4 by 3, 1.33. Yeah. So this is 0.167. So now you need to calculate. So once we got the eccentricity, so at this, so we know the total load coming at the center. So but since this, due to this couple moments, we are not going to have this force here, it will be somewhere here. So, and also its magnitude will also change. So that magnitude can be calculated as P gamma is equals to W upon L minus 2E. So weight we know is 180, length is 3 minus 2 into 0.167, so it's 68.26 kPa. Yeah, so 67.5, yes, so 68.26 kPa we are getting. So now we are having the total load coming over it. So then we need to calculate, so this is the driving force. So now we need to calculate the P resisting. So resistance in the bearing pressure we know, like from the our bearing capacity topics. So it can be calculated as P resistance is, so we know it's 0.5 gamma B and gamma against the bearing. So but here it's our B is not the X pure, so it's 0.5, gamma is soil is 20, and your width is not the total width, it's basically the L minus 2 times eccentricity, and your bearing capacity factor. So bearing capacity factor for 30 degree, if you see from the bearing capacity table, we know it's 22.4, length is given as 3 minus 2 into eccentricity is 0.167, and gamma is 22.4. You can check in your bearing capacity factor for the friction angle corresponding to 30 degree. So P resistance can be calculated as, so if you solve this expression, the value will be 597.184. So now you are having P resistance with you, P driving with you. So factor of safety can be calculated as P resistance by P driving, and the unit of here it's kPa, right, since this is a bearing capacity. So 597.184, P driving is given by 68.26. So it's 8.7. So yeah, your option C will be the correct answer as we discussed. So any doubt in this question? Any part you have not understood? So these questions are basically the mechanics problem only. So you just need to see which force is acting at which place, and what is the magnitude of that force, and what is the lever arm at which that force is acting, and you need to determine the pivot point along corresponding to, like, about which these forces and moments are acting. So any doubt in any part of the question from today's discussion? If not so, then let's end our session here only. So I guess this was our last session for this course, for this session, this term. So I am not sure if there would be some another lectures or another session which are going to be held. You will be getting the notification from the NPTEL team. But as per my knowledge, this was our last discussion session from for the problem solving session. So thank you guys for being with me, and if you want to discuss any part, like, let's have on it. If not so, then yeah, we can end it here. Okay, thank you, Bhaskar. Okay, guys, um, let's end this session here. And if you want to see, if you have not attended this session, you can check my YouTube channel where I am uploading this video. The link will be shared by the NPTEL team, and if you there will be some PDFs also which will be uploaded for the corresponding to the same discussion we are having here. So you can take help of both this PDF or these documents or from the videos, or also you are always having the Professor BDR lectures with you. So that is the ultimate source. So you can take help from this. So yeah, thank you guys. Okay, bye.